The fifth week. The fifth week is another action-packed week. It's back, down, up to London, agreements to sign, the record to cut, meet up with club promotion people and Salesforce people. Having a record cut means taking your master tape to some cutting room where a cutting engineer will play your tape, make some bizarre comments about its quality, then using his machinery will equalize the sounds coming off your tape. This has to be done because only sounds within a certain range can be committed to vinyl or broadcast by radio before recording them on a new tape of his. There is a tendency to make the sound more compact. The cutting engineer will then cut a lacquer from this tape. A lacquer is a metal disc evenly coated in a black lacquer that is placed on the most expensive record deck you will have ever seen. To be honest, we are totally bored with telling you about cutting. Cutting records is boring. So are cutting rooms, and the bulk of cutting engineers are boring, with opinions totally irrelevant to what's going down. If we had our way, we would just quit writing the bulk of the rest of this book now and tell you how to smuggle people into the top of the pop studios and just call it a day. Just get the book printed as it is. We will try to be reasonable and professional about this, but we want this book finished by the end of the week. We want to get on with what we are doing next. We have this new gear that is providing us with a lot of fun. There's at least half a dozen LPs and 2 films to make, an art exhibition, and a ship we want to buy, all by the end of the year, and here we are wasting our time writing a book that will be completely redundant within 12 months, an obsolete artifact. Its only use being a bit of social history that records the aspirations of a certain strata in British society in the late 80s. Nothing that any Sunday supplement advertisement could not already tell them. It's obvious that in a very short space of time, the Japanese will have delivered the technology and then brought the price of it down so that you can do the whole thing at home. Then you will be able to sod off all that crap about going into studios. We have been doing all this writing in a county library in an old English market town. The place is crammed with dirty old books, loads of them with more than 500 pages in, all written properly. People must have sweated for years to write some of these books, and we can't be bothered with finishing this skimpy thing properly. We found a book this morning, a dictionary of similes, printed in 1917. Thought there might be something in it to spice up our writing style. Every page is a winner. We shall let it fall open. It's page 265. Money to motionless. And what do we read? Monotonous as the dress of charity children, by Anon. Moody as a poet, Thomas Shadwell. Mope like birds that are changing feathers, Longfellow. I am as mopish as if I were married and live in a provincial town, G.H. Lewis. Moral as a peppermint, Anon. Moral as a peppermint? Moral as a peppermint? Moral as a sodding peppermint? Obviously, the word peppermint had some unusual connotation back in 1917 that has been lost down through the intervening years. Back in 1917, when peppermint was moral, there were no pluggers or Salesforce helping to hype the week's hot new releases. You would be out there in the trenches knee-deep in depth, scribbling whatever feeling you had left into some dog-eared notebook, and we would be writing, How to Become a Renowned War Poet the Easy Way. Tommy this and Tommy that, and Tommy feels no pain, for it's over the top for Tommy where Tommy takes the blame, while Fritz the Hun feeds Fritz the cat and Kaiser sits on throne. Then Fritz chats to Tommy boy about his Fraulein back at home. That's the one that took us to the top, up there with Owen and Service, Sassoon and Graves. Cut the crap, we hear you say. All right. Your distributor will organize getting the lacquer to the pressing plant. A few days later, they will get the test pressings, TPs, back. You have to listen to them and say, that sounds okay by me. They can then go ahead pressing up the initial quantities. Check over the finished artwork before it is sent off to the printers. As with the TP, a slick, sleeve-proof, of the finished sleeve will be printed for you to pass judgment on before they go ahead with the rest of the run. Club promotion. There are companies that specialize in mailing out records to clubs. The clubs get the records for nothing and in return have to fill out reaction sheets, reporting back on how each individual record is going down with their punters on the dance floor. Lots of records are initially broken on the dance floor. It's all a cliche now, but it still works. A record is mailed out to the taste-making clubs 4 weeks before release as a white label or a fake American import for DJ elitist credibility. 2 weeks before release, it gets mailed to the rest of the clubs and specialist dance record shops. James Hamilton starts writing about the track in his Record Mirror column. On the week of release, the record bombs into the national chart. This is how records you have never heard by artists you have never heard of are suddenly appearing in the top 40. We used a company called Rush Release, and we would recommend them to anyone. They are based in South London. Find their telephone number in the Music Week directory. Make an appointment. Get down there with a TP and play it for them. Listen to their advice and take it. These promoters have various lists of clubs and DJs that are applicable for sending every type of record to. If they think it's only worth your while sending out only 150 records, they will tell you, even if by sending out 300 they get twice as much money. For them to mail out 300 records is going to cost you £500, 1988 rates. That's the amount we sent out for Doctorin the Tardis. They will demand cash up front. They will tell you of the numerous times they have been let down by small companies who have gone bust owing them hundreds. Give them your hard luck story. Ask for a 28-day invoice and let them get on with their job. Inform your distributor that Rush Release are on your case and they need to have 300 stickered white labels ASAP. Organize your release schedule with your distributors. Make sure the plugger and publicist are supplied with white labels. Keep talking with everybody. Keep the vibe building. Don't be bullied into taking out adverts in any of the music papers. Waste of time, waste of money. Keep using other people's telephones and don't take taxis. Don't stop thinking about videos, photo sessions, and Top of the Pops performances. Hold hands with heaven and take a tea break because things are beginning to get out of control again. Charts. Have we told you how our national charts are compiled yet? The ones that the BBC use. The only ones that Music Week prints. The only charts in this country that are worth taking seriously. The market research people, Gallup, put them together. There are 600 record shops sprinkled across the country that are lucky enough to have little computers in them. Each time somebody buys a single from one of these shops, the shop assistant is supposed to tap into the computer the catalog number of the record sold. These are the chart return shops. After the close of play on each Saturday evening and before the broadcasting of the new charts on Radio 1 Sunday evening, Gallup will randomly choose 200 or more of these 600 shops, add up the score on their computers, and with these figures base the chart. The reason why these 600 shops are so lucky, even though it is a bind having to type in catalog numbers all the time, is because they become the focal point of all the record companies' in-store promotion. The record companies will stop at nothing to get the punter to buy the initial quantities of would-be chart-bound releases from one of these shops. It is for this very reason that fate has decreed that chart return shops have all the double backs, limited editions, gatefolds, 12-inch remixes, the shaped and picture discs, the CD singles, and all the other lost leaders desperately trying to grab your attention from display boxes littered around counters and dangling from ceilings. Sales forces. Each sales force is made up of a team of a dozen or more salesmen who each have their chunk of the kingdom to cover. Within their territory, they have to call on each chart return shop once a week. From Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., armies of these salesmen tear from one chart return shop to another, giving away goodies, doing one-on-one deals, asking about the kids, leaving 10 singles on the counter. Well, we'll forget about the invoice if it makes number one. These are desperate men, leading desperate lives. These men are in a league table and nobody wants to be left in the relegation zone. None want to be back selling spark plugs. They want the glamour. They want to meet the stars. They want to be down there in London working in the record company's central office, surrounded by all the Dolly Bird secretaries. Make more room at the top, I'm on the way. How can they fail? Chase that bonus, make that sale, crack that joke, and please, just one more number in the computer and we're almost there. Over the Pennines and across the fens, winding up the Welsh valleys, are estate cars piled high with boxes of the week's priority releases, all searching for the extra panel sale. These men have a job to do, fair means or foul. They are the foot soldiers and are out there week after week in the front line. They spend their lives waiting for exam results that are published every Sunday. Then there are the midweeks on Thursdays and predictions on Fridays, and on it goes. Gallup provides the industry with midweek chart positions on Thursdays and predictions on Friday of what they think the charts will be like on Sunday. These are not published or broadcast for public consumption. It is they who get the chop when the whistle is blown and somebody shouts, "Unfair marketing!" Yes, the record company gets fined, but they lose their job, and it's back to selling spark plugs. Without such a team of men, no record stands a chance of charting, no matter how much radio play or club action it's having. A distributor can only supply demand. They don't get out there and sell. Each of the major record companies have their sales force. We mentioned earlier that until a few years ago, nobody outside of the majors had access to this form of weight. But now we have a number of independent sales forces that are breaking records from the independent sector at an almost monotonous rate. We should have made it clear that these independent sales forces do most of their work for the majors. They are hired to work on priority releases as a backup, ensuring each chart record shop gets a visit twice a week by a salesman pushing the same record. These men are not motivated by any altruistic ideals. They are a phenomena of the Thatcher years. They are there for you to use, and they will welcome working with you once they hear your record. There are 3 heavyweight sales forces you should contact: Impulse, Bullet, and Platinum. They have all had number 1s in 1988. Phone them up and see if you can get an appointment. Send them each a white label. Go with whichever one shows the most interest. We were in the lucky position of having all 3 wanting to work our record. Each of them used different strategies, each offered different deals. They cost a lot of money. If they want $5,000 from you for working the life of the record, tell them it's got to be $3,000. They will want chart bonuses just like the plugger. By the time you get to number 1, you will be owing them $10,000. A lot of money, but it is what you have got to pay. There is no other way around it. The great thing is they will all, when slightly pushed, let you do a deal where you don't have to pay until your money starts coming through the distributors. You might be wondering, why do we have to pay these sales forces to sell our records? Why can't they just take a commission on the amount of records they sell? When we said sell, sell, sell earlier, it is not that straightforward. They are not out there really selling records. They are out there buying catalog numbers going into computers, buying display space and rack visibility. They need tools. They need your help. They need free records to give away, thousands if you'll let them. Favors need to be won. Your real record sales only start happening once the record is off and running. That's when the vast bulk of orders start pouring in direct to the distributors. Yeah, we know you must be bored hearing about salesmen, but we have to hammer it home. These are the men that make the hits. Without them, there would be nothing. Even if everybody stopped buying singles for a month, there would still be numbers going into the Gallup computers. Still midweeks on Thursday and predictions on Friday and charts on Sunday. Nothing would change. It is only these people who can push, pull, or scrape a record from being at 41 in the predictions on Friday and over the Great Divide and into the land of plenty at 39 on Sunday evening. There, safe in the bosom of the top of the Pop's Top 40 chart rundown, the new entry plays on Radio 1, the automatic national recognition. It's there, a hit for all to see. All because a few extra favors were pulled in Doncaster on a wet Friday afternoon. We are not saying these men don't love music as much as the next man. They do. Their in-car stereos are never left to cool. When they are working a record, it doesn't matter if it's Glenn Medeiros, Public Enemy, Fields of the Nephilim, or Sabrina. They don't have the pretensions of the plugger or the crackable credibility of the publicist. In the final analysis, these are the men. Why should any shop waste their time pressing catalog numbers into machines if it wasn't for the goodies that these men bring them for doing so? Without these numbers being tapped in, there would be no charts. Nothing. The whole charade would not exist. Do you get the picture? Bonus or no bonus? That is the question. Count Doughbound. Release date is looming. The right clubs are playing your record. The plugger already had a meeting with a very close friend up at Radio 1. The publicist keeps telling you he's got to have some photos and some sort of a biog. You know you need a video. Those pay updates on the invoices are looming larger than the release date. They were added up to £12,000 at the last count. You need to get your hands on £20,000 fast. No muggable pensioner is carrying that much cash about with them, and it's not as if borrowing a $5 from your mom is going to make any difference. Enterprise allowance scheme? Why didn't you think of that before? Because you are not thick. You are going to have to hold tight. Check in with your solicitor. Check in with your accountant. Start the countdown. Sleep becomes erratic. If you were a dope smoker, you will find yourself skinning up before breakfast. You will almost have a nervous breakdown over the sleeve when you realize it is complete crap. Nobody will want to buy a record that looked like that, and you will hear yourself sob. They'll just laugh at it and leave it in the racks. And why does the world need this record? We offer you no answers. Any record? Still no answer. The mix is crap. It needs a remix. Should I stop everything now and have all the copies that are already pressed destroyed and remix? The plugger is screaming at you for a video. Let me back in the womb. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, here we go. 0. Monday morning, 10:30, and you are still in bed. There are record shops all over the country already open with your record in it. Is there anybody out there who has actually gone out and bought it? Why should they? You switch on Radio 1. You almost explode. They're playing it. Simon Bates is playing your record. Oh my God, why? Why? Screams a voice inside your head. It sounds crap 1 second and brilliant the next. You start to shake. The telephone rings. You hide under the covers. The telephone stops ringing. Simon Bates starts talking over the fade. The bastard. What does he say? He likes it. Thinks it could be a chart-bound sound and tells a few million people they will be hearing that one again. The telephone rings. It's your plugger asking if you heard it. He thought it sounded great. He tells you it has been scripted for the Gary Davis show that afternoon. He tells you he had been trying to get you over the weekend to let you know that the record has been put out on the C list. Playlists. Radio 1 operates a playlist system. All the producers meet on a Monday, listen to the new releases, and discuss which ones should go on or come off of their playlists. The playlist is divided into A, B, and C lists. Records on the A list are the ones that get played on what seems like every daytime show, but in reality, rarely more than 20 times a week. B-listed records are ones that the producers are recommending to script in the shows. These can end up getting as many as 14 plays in a week, more than many A-listed records. A record on the C list is one that can be considered for scripting, more down to the individual producer or DJ. And of course, Radio 1 has its usual quota of golden oldies, album track spots, and request slots that take a fair chunk of the day's needle time. The fact that your record may not have gone straight on the A-list should not bother you unduly. Our record spent only 1 week on the A-list, the week we were at number 1. When we entered at number 22, we were not even on the C-list. Other records can go straight on the A-list, get played to death, and still do nothing chart-wise. In the life of most number 1 records, all this radio play and playlist stuff would have been off and running at least a week earlier. But because you are not a name act, a heavyweight record label, or even a slim trim indie with a good track record, nobody up at Radio 1 is taking your record that seriously, even though they like it. The telephone rings again. It's some mate or your mother or cousin phoning to tell you they've heard the record. You get dressed and don't know what to do with yourself. No milk in the fridge. For the next few days, you will be scared to call anyone, and no one will call you. On Wednesday, you will probably be tempted to go down to the local newsagents to see if any of the music papers are in, and if so, have they reviewed your record. Probably only one of them will have a review, and that's just a couple of lines lumped in with 3 other records 2/3 down the page. Nothing that positive, but not too negative. Just stating that it's more of the same, and where will it all end? Don't try and read any significance into these meager words. The reviewer will have forgotten what they said seconds after their hands finished typing it. You, however, may carry those words around with you in your head for the rest of your life. Don't let that be a problem. Wednesday, late afternoon. Call the sales force. They should have a fair idea of how it's going by now. It will be going well. It's already starting to fly. They want to know about radio play and have you made a video yet? Call the distributors. Orders are beginning to come in. All the signs are there. It's going to be a big one. They were telling you this last week and the week before, and they are telling it to you again. Call the plugger's office. He won't be there, but his assistant will tell you that they have already had 5 plays this week so far. It's going to be on Singled Out on Friday. They are expecting about 10 to 12 plays by the end of the week. It's going to be a big one, she will tell you. The plugger will want to call you back later in the afternoon. He does. We got to have a video. Look, this record could be huge. Without a video, we're looking at a record that will peak at 28, if we're lucky. And have you sorted out what kind of performance you'll be doing on top of the pops? All the signs are that this record could enter the 40 on Sunday. If the predictions on Friday confirm, I've got to tell you the Pops production meeting on Friday what your act is all about. They'll need to see there's a video and know that it's MU cleared. You will have to come clean and tell him you may have the greatest ideas in the world, but no money, nothing. You can't conjure up a video out of thin air. He won't like to hear this because you already owe him £1,000 that he should have got before last Monday. He will ask you if you have asked for any sort of cash advance from the distributors yet. You answer no. He will advise you to do that. They are bound to let you have it, seeing as the record is all ready to explode. Call the distributors before they sod off home. They will know all about the radio play and the reaction from the sales force. Get straight to the point. You need money to see this thing through properly. How much? £20,000. They will understand your situation and ask you to call back in the morning. You call back the next morning just after 10 a.m. This, by the way, is the only long-distance call in the whole exercise that you will need to make during peak rate, with you having to pay for it. They agreed to give it to you. Call your bank manager. Tell him what is happening. Tell him you want to draw out £200 now. He will say yes. Go to the bank and draw out the cash. This money is not needed for any instant purpose. But if you are going to be given a check for £20,000, you want to feel some of it there in your pocket now. Get down or up to London as fast as you can. You have to get that check into a bank before 3:30. If you have time, go to a cafe by yourself and have a coffee and just look at the knots on that check. After the bank, get round to your pluggers to talk video with him. It could already be too late. You should really have had the finished video over a week ago. You are going to have yours done by the following Thursday. That is shot, edited, dubbed, union cleared, the lot, and ready for transmission. Call your accountant. Tell him about money. Get him to issue checks to settle all of your outstanding bills. You will now once again feel like a free man. We have to take a break here because we hate video. As a medium, it stinks. It is almost totally out of your control and it costs a fortune. Video production companies are full of the people you never want to meet. They are leeches, spending their lives trying to ingratiate themselves with anyone they think might have a few grand to spend. Videos are the disease of our time, adverts pretending to be art, made by arseholes pretending to be artists. Of course, the lovers of kitsch in the next century will adore them. Social historians dissect them. Shoot the lot, we say. Other than that, spend no more than £10,000 and don't forget the VAT. Don't make a prat of yourself and don't attempt a pastiche of some movie genre. For our video, we got lucky. We had a mate who had a director's ticket. He was not a regular video director. We had a lot of fun making it. Although it did not look like it, it cost us over £8,000, most of which went on hiring the helicopter for the aerial shots. Listen to what your plugger has to say on the subject. Let his office be the center of operations for getting it all together. Make decisions and get it done. Who knows, you might even enjoy it. Next, what's your angle? What's going to happen on the top of the pops? What are you going to say on Newsbeat? What are you going to use for photos for smash hits? Like the video, you have left it all too late, but there was nothing you could have done about that, because it's only now that you have got the money. In this whole area, we went well overboard, spending a lot of money that we could have saved for other things. We had radically different concepts each and every new day, each more complicated than the previous, each just adding to the confusion. We thought we were being clever. We were being twats. And after the fact, that became clear to us was that our record could have been sold in brown paper bags with no wacky car makes record scam, and it would still have gotten to number one. The record was bigger than all of us. It knew where it had to get to. Us, we just tried to keep up with it, hoping people would notice our crazy asides and metaphysical jibes as the whole thing fireballed itself into the top. The car makes record thing was all very last minute, and we won't go into what other ideas we had before and how it all came about. Our engineer became the car. He was christened Ford Timelord. It could have been Timmy Timelord or Tyrone Timelord. He did all the interviews, providing a character that was the extension of his own. This left us free to just watch and assess. When it came to Top of the Pops, we went through a myriad of mind-blowing scenarios for our performance. When we first came up with our car as a frontman idea, we just wanted to have the car sitting there at the Top of the Pops studio, our track playing and nothing else happening. All very Andy Warhol. Boring, we were told. So we got a choreographer and 4 dancing girls and put them on a retainer for a month. That cost £2,500. Called them the escorts. Had a stylist make them costumes. That cost £1,000. Then we did a photo session with them. That was another £1,000. The escorts were like a latter-day Pans people. They danced around Ford Timelord's more laid-back, cool, and somewhat stationary performance. They provided fast fun and frolicsome sexuality. Tongue firmly in cheek for all to see. Pure Sunday sport. We loved it. Top of the Pops said, "No way. If we want dancers on our show, we'll provide them." It was sometime around this point that we became aware of a resistance to our record, and on the whole way we were promoting it. The tabloids, radio, and pop TV all smelt a rat. They thought we were attempting to take the piss, that we were trying to hijack their media for our own ends, that we were not playing the game according to the rules. We thought we were giving them what they wanted, something inane, breezy, with a bit of safe, silly sex thrown in. The Sun and the Mirror took this especially badly. They inferred that we not only insulted them as journalists if we thought that we could do an interview with a car, we were also told that if they were to run such an interview, they would lose their credibility with their readers, who in future would begin to doubt all their other pop piffle stories about Bananarama Girls splits with Sting, and sultry Sade and secret affair with bonking Mad Cliff. Instead, they tried to expose us, the men behind the record. Who wants to read about reality, we thought? Bill Drummond, aging rocker? All that kind of stuff. We thought they would want to do center spreads with Ford Timelord with his lovely escort draping over his long, dark, sleek body. They did not. They hated it. Don't make the mistakes we did. Save your money. Mind you, things tend to get completely out of control, so even if you learn from our mistakes, you will create plenty of your own. Always find the positive angle. Always run the risk. We originally wanted the record fronted by real Daleks. We could not get permission. It was after that we came up with the car idea. We then wanted to smash the car into Stonehenge or have a helicopter place it on 2 of the vertical stones whose horizontal was missing. We thought of dragging it to the top of Silbury Hill, digging a hole and tipping the car in nose first, with about 4 feet stuck in the ground and the rest just stuck in the air, so that it looked like we had just arrived from outer space. One of us is sort of related to one of the lesbians that abseiled into the House of Commons in early '88. They advised us against digging a hole in the Silbury Hill, as it is sort of special to them. This gang of anarchic lesbians said they would help us break into Stonehenge one night, Paint all the stones black and white, knock a few over, and remind the world about evolution. The girls were angry about something and we were not. So they went off and broke into news at 10. Us, being boys, went off and made Daleks in true Blue Peter style. As these Daleks were so far removed from the original designs, they did not infringe any copyright laws. Bill Butt, who was the director, attempted to pool together all our various strands of boyish behavior, our love of shallow symbolism, heavy mysticism, and American cars, and made our video, Confusion. What has all this got to do with you and our supposed concise instructions on how to make that last leap to pole position? Everything. Because it's only through mastering the art of having complete control when you are at the same time totally out of control. You must hold the reins tighter than you have ever held them before, but let the chariot head over the cliff top. The abyss is calling. Clutch at straws, build castles on clay. Let the quicksand tell you lies. Take the scenic route, be there on time. Use 2 drummers if need be. Fill out forms, seconds, minutes, hours, days, midweeks, and predictions. Fall, spin, turn, and dive. Sign checks. Solicitors doing deals with hits and now. Sleep at night, black to white. Highest new entry, good to bad. Fast forward, top of the pops. Reread this book, whatever it takes. No, don't. You already know all there is to know. Faster, faster, faster. Give everything. Just give everything. This is the beautiful end. Sunday evening, 5 minutes to 7. You are now at number 1. This is forever. It is now totally out of your hands. Your body still looks the same, but everything inside it is a million miles apart. Sunday evening, 20 past 7. Rockman opens another bottle of champagne. Kingboy watches lapwings fly past the setting sun. You do what you need to do. There was nothing behind the green door but an old piano. So why? What have you learned? If you can have a number 1, anything is possible. Don't forget to sign on. Postscript. A couple of people have read through what we have written to check on the spelling and see if we should be sticking in any more punctuation. They were disappointed with the way we ended it. We don't know what they expected or what you expected. We certainly did not know what we expected. Maybe an attempt at metaphysical wit. Expect nothing, accept everything. Something like that. It's all left up in the air, out of focus. You never even told us how to smuggle people through BBC security into Top of the Pops, or about Gary Glitter. We want to know about Gary Glitter, they said. To be honest, or at least an attempt at it, we think the reason we wrote this manual was to try to understand the whole process ourselves, make sense, unravel the mess of confusing strands, all the lies and logic, morals and myths, and the difference between yes and no. Empiricals, forget it. Nothing ever resolves itself. You must know that by now. We just chose a cutoff point. No point in us telling you how we attempted staying at number 1 for a further week and failed, or how Top of the Pops wouldn't let us go on with Gary Glitter the week we were at number 1, or how we wanted to swap our number 1 with Morrissey's Every Day is Like Sunday and Gallup wouldn't have it. To quote the most heart-shuddering moment in teenage pop, the closing line in Past, Present, and Future, performed by the Shangri-Las, written and produced by Shadow Morton. It will never, never happen again. And if we do have empiricals, that line is it. We would never be allowed to get away with it a second time. I am sure there are dozens more handy hints we could give you. You will have to give them to yourself instead. It's all obvious stuff. Public Enemy bring out a record called Don't Believe the Hype. A white UK rock journalist tells us they're the greatest rock band in the world. A lad on the tube is wearing a Public Enemy bomber jacket and Def Jam baseball cap. Must have cost him 20 quid. How deep does the irony go before we all have to drown? Time for tea. We've had enough. Just show us where the door is. The White Room is calling. Yours true, yours, empirically, the Justified Ancients of MuMu. P.S. Good luck.